Are you standing in your own way of being the guitarist that you desire? Here are the top 7 myths that are holding people back that many still believe are true. So before we go into these myths, my nearly 40 years of teaching experience, I've seen just about everything, and this is why I can qualify these as being the top myths, and this is why I know that they're untrue. Currently in society, excuses are plentiful, and there's a lot of folks that would rather believe in an excuse rather than look at stark truth and say, hey, I need to change. If that's you, you definitely want to turn off this video because the rest of this is just going to absolutely offend you. For those of you that are willing to look truth straight in the eye and move forward and learn from it and become the best that you can be, let's do this. Okay, this is number 1. It's the biggest one, and it's gonna offend the most people, so hold on to your seat. Number 1 is that practice is the only thing that's going to make you a great player. Has zero to do with talent. So what I mean by this is this. I've literally had stars come to me, their parents bring their kids to me, young age. Yeah, they're a little bit more advanced than the usual at that age, but what I find is it doesn't mean a hill of beans in the long run. And the students that actually practiced, that came in and knew zero and didn't seem to have any natural talent in the beginning, would far exceed the folks that came in with a quote-unquote talent. So I've seen this time and time and time again. I've probably seen it over 100 times for nearly 40 years now. So in regards to talent, if you're leaning on that, thinking that you need to be born into it, born into a specific family, this, that, and the other thing, you are already starting off on the wrong foot, and there's very little hope for you. If you understand the concept that practice is the thing that if you consistently do, in the right order, of course, and doing the right kinds of practice, there's a caveat in that as well. It's not just aimlessly practicing, but practicing the right stuff in the right order, you will excel and you won't get stuck in that thought process of, I need to have quote unquote talent. Number 2, capos are for newbies or people that don't know how to play guitar or don't know how to play in open positions or anything else. Okay, this is oftentimes the thought process of rock guitar players. I'm a rock guitar player, that's how I started off. And it's because rock songs are written in open keys like E and A and D and G and that sort of thing. So yeah, you don't need a capo if the song's been written in that. But the second you decide to change that, go down a half step or go up a half step, now all of a sudden you got a guitar player who's like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't play it in that key. Okay, so it's important to understand that capos are used by some of the best players in the world. Living in Nashville, I saw it all the time. Some of the best players using capos because they were required to play songs in all different keys, and using a capo allows them to do so. Okay, so I got videos on capos. We're not going to go into all the reasons behind it, but capos are not for newbies. They're for more pro players than anything else, but newbies can definitely benefit from it. You must know how to read music in order to be a great guitar player. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, I would rather a guitar player who has a great ear way more than I would rather someone who reads music. That being said, reading music is a great skill, and if you're disciplined enough to learn it, it's a great thing to do. I know how to read music. I don't do it often, so I'm not good at it. So it's just like someone who reads. If you read often, if you read a lot for long periods of time, you're going to be a better reader. If you just read here and there, you're not going to be as good of a reader. Your vocabulary is not going to be as strong. Same exact thing when it comes to reading music. People will try to read music and they'll say, man, I'm not good at it. When they say that, I know they just haven't done it enough. That's literally the only thing, just like the practice bit. You read more, you're going to be better at it. You must know music theory. Again, nothing could be further from the truth in regards to music theory as people think about it as, well, I know chord formulas and I know that this scale should work over this chord and that sort of thing. That is not necessary, at least from, like, say, a textbook standpoint. There has to be some sort of knowledge that you're getting from the instrument in regards to chord shapes and scale shapes and that sort of thing. So in essence, you may be learning some sort of theory, at least in regards to shapes, but actually learning all the intricate bits and pieces about music theory in order to be a great guitar player? Absolutely don't need it. Music theory destroys creativity. Okay, now on the other side of this, people think that music theory or the knowledge of music, that's all we're talking about, the knowledge of music destroys creativity. There's nothing that can be further from the truth. The only thing that music theory says is it says, well, these are some best practices. This is why music works the way it does. Here's the symmetry of it. Here's how the chords work and the scales work and that sort of thing. I don't know about you, but if I wanted to be a great carpenter, using a ruler and using tools like that are only going to make my job better. And I wouldn't look at them as some sort of crutch. I would look at it as something that would make me a better player. So with that being said, it's not going to hinder your creativity as much as it's going to allow you to see some possibilities and replicate things because you understand the process. Music theory is difficult. Nothing could be further from the truth. Music theory is actually quite simple if it's taught in a step-by-step manner, because there are definitely things that you would want to learn before learning something else. Just like in anything, you'd like to take first grade before second grade and second grade before third grade and so on and so forth. But music theory is not difficult. It's literally as easy as counting 1 through 7, because that is our diatonic or our major scale. Everything is built upon that. The building of chords, the building of scales, the building of chord progressions is all built upon, or 99.9% of it's built upon the diatonic scale, the major scale. And so literally just counting do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And if you can do that and understand what that means in regards to the scale, that is the foundation of everything in regards to music theory. You can go as deep as you want down that rabbit hole, but the basics of music theory are actually very simple. My hands are too big or my hands are too small. Now, I've obviously heard this one since I started teaching many, many years ago. And what I found is that it had nothing to do with their hand size, had everything to do with, number one, practice. I've seen guitarists who had big hands that complained that their hands were too big and that they couldn't get into the frets and what have you. And I've had people say, well, their hands are too small, they can't play bar chords and what have you. Bar chords are difficult for everybody in the beginning because there's a learning curve. It's like learning a new language. And in regards to hands are too big, I know players who have huge hands and can play very intricately, even on a mandolin, which has a much smaller area to work with in between the frets and what have you. So it has more to do with precision and precision through practice. So if you think that that's what's causing the problem, either you're right, or I've literally done this for 40 years and I've never seen that to be true ever. Yes, if you feel that something is true, then it's going to be true for you, but unfortunately, it's not the truth of the universe, and it's going to make you think that something is the problem when that's not the problem at all. It's practice. And the last myth is, I'll never be as good as, insert the name, blank, whoever it is. I don't care if it's Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, B.B. King, I don't care who it is. They all sucked until they didn't suck. Meaning they were as good as you are with the amount of practice that they had. So day 7 of Eddie Van Halen's guitar journey looked like your day 2 and your day 7. He wasn't two-hand tapping and playing Eruption, okay? What happens is people see the end result and they say, that guy was just born with it. Some people are just born with it, man. That's an excuse. Again, we can hold on to those excuses if that's what makes you feel better, but it doesn't. You know, deep down in your heart, it doesn't. Or we can embrace the truth and say, man, it's hard work. And Eddie Van Halen said it himself when people would say, talk about a gift. And he's like, man, that's not a gift. I worked really hard for this. How insulting for us to think that anybody who's worked really hard for something, that they were just handed to them overnight, or they were born with it. Let's not insult them. And let's do the same. Let's practice in a way that makes us excel and makes us the best that we can be. That is all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like, subscribe, leave your comments below. I'm very passionate about your success on the guitar. So much so that I'm literally giving you 36 of my best guitar lessons for absolutely free. Click on the card or the link in the description of this video. Join the revolution, my friends. Hundreds of thousands of players have already done it. It will change your guitar life. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.